Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we explore the most exciting and sometimes, mind-bending advancements shaping our world. Today, we're strapping in. We're doing a deep dive into wearable technology. Now, when I say wearables, you probably, instantly think of your fitness tracker, right?
Right.
On your wrist.
That's the common image.
But what if?
Yeah.
What if your technology wasn't just on you like a separate gadget, but actually with you, an extension of you almost? Blurring those lines between human and machine in ways we've, only really seen in sci-fi before.
Exactly.
So this isn't just about counting steps anymore, not by a long shot. We're seeing this fundamental shift. We're calling it strapped in this week in wearables.
Yeah.
It's heading towards like symbiotic human-computer integration. And honestly, the pace of change it's just breathtaking.
It really is. And the research, the information our dedicated team pulled together for us, it just clearly shows this accelerating trend. We're seeing really significant product launches, major breakthroughs. It feels like a real inflection point where tech is moving fast towards comprehensive human augmentation.
Augmentation. Wow.
Yeah. It's not just passively watching anymore. It's becoming active assistance, deep integration into, our actual lives.
Okay, so our mission today, then, is to unpack the most important bits, the key insights from this past week. We'll cover groundbreaking products, some really cutting-edge research, and, crucially, the real-world impact of this whole strapped-in revolution.
Sounds good.
From smart glasses all the way to brain interfaces. We are going deep. So, let's get into it. Okay, so let's start with maybe the most visible trend right now. The AI-powered smart glasses, they seem to be popping up more and more.
Simply gaining traction.
And front and center, our sources are highlighting Meta's new ones, the Oakley Meta HSTN glasses.
That's the one, yeah.
These aren't just being sold as, an other fashion accessory. They're positioning them as a new category entirely. Performance AI.
Performance AI, that's the term they're using.
So, okay, the specs look good. High-res, hands-free camera, 3K video, that open your audio, built-in Meta AI assistant. But what's the real genius here? Like, what's Meta really trying to pull off beyond just, selling some cool-looking eyewear?
What's really fascinating, and our analysis points strongly to this, isn't just the list of features, it's the strategy, the strategic significance of these launches.
Okay, strategy. Tell me more.
It looks like Meta's primary move is about, normalizing AI eyewear, getting us used to it.
Normalizing it.
Yeah, and winning what they're apparently calling the battle for the face.
Battle for the face. Sounds dramatic.
It kind of is. Think about it, right? They're not immediately trying to wow everyone with a full augmented reality display. That stuff is still incredibly difficult to shrink down, make comfortable, and crucially, make socially acceptable.
Right. We all remember the Google Glass backlash, the glass whole thing.
Exactly. That was a huge lesson. So instead, they're making useful AI glasses, but without that obvious display. They're stylish, they're pretty discreet, more approachable.
So the goal is to make wearing AI on your face feel normal, like wearing sunglasses or regular glasses.
That seems to be the idea. Pave the way, Make this first step feel natural so that later on, when more sophisticated display-based AR glasses come along, we're already comfortable with the concept.
Okay. It's the long game.
It's a very clear play, maybe a bit stealthy, but clear, to own that next big computing platform, just like smartphones dominate now.
That makes a ton of sense. But isn't there still a massive hurdle, social acceptance, even for these less obtrusive ones?
Oh, absolutely. That hurdle is still there. But these new glasses are different. They look much more like regular glasses, which helps a lot with the intrusiveness factor.
Less creepy.
Hopefully less creepy, yeah.
Yeah.
And the utility, especially with the AI built in, feels more immediate, less like some abstract future tech.
All right, you mentioned the example in the research, like a golfer asking for wind conditions mid-swing. That's tangible.
Exactly. Real-time contextual help that actually makes something easier. And look, this isn't happening in isolation. No, the research shows a really competitive landscape emerging. Rivals like Snap, Google, they're accelerating their own AR glasses work, too.
So everyone's racing for the face.
Pretty much. Every major tech player sees it as the next frontier. And it's not just consumers either. We're seeing other launches like Rocket and Vuzix glasses. They're getting real traction in enterprise.
Enterprise, like for work?
Yeah, industrial settings, even military applications, transforming how people work with hands-free data, remote assistance, that kind of thing.
Okay, so glasses are one thing. Integrating tech with our sight and hearing. But you mentioned integration going deeper.
Right.
It's not just about what we see or hear anymore. It's moving towards what we feel, how we move, which is a perfect way to talk about how tech is connecting with our bodies in, like, more subtle physical ways.
And this brings us to a really key innovation highlighted in the research. It's called Palmplug.
Palmplug, okay.
Imagine learning a really complex skill like playing piano or maybe surgery, not by watching a video, but by literally feeling the right movements guided onto your hand.
Whoa.
So, Palmplug's core idea is this non-obstructive haptic wearable. It's designed specifically for direct skill acquisition for augmenting your physical abilities.
Not obstructive. So it's not like a big clunky glove.
Exactly. That's critical. It's not a full glove, so it preserves your natural dexterity. That's huge for anything needing fine motor control.
That sounds incredibly cool, this idea of physical software. How does it actually, guide your hand? Does it, like, buzz really hard or something?
It's much more nuanced than just buzzing. It combines a few things. High-precision sensors track your finger movements very accurately.
Yeah.
Then you have localized haptic actuators, tiny vibrators providing very subtle feedback right where you need it.
Subtle vibrations.
Yeah, plus multicolor LEDs for visual cues, and get this, even light muscle stimulation.
Muscle stimulation, like it moves your hand for you.
Not quite like forces it, more like a very gentle, almost imperceptible nudge, just subtly guiding the user's hand. They call it human AI collaboration through touch.
Human AI collaboration through touch. Wild. What are the applications?
Oh, they're potentially huge. Medical rehabilitation is a big one. Think stroke patients relearning hand movements guided through exercises.
Wow, yeah.
Industrial training, too. Surgeons practicing precise motions, mechanics learning complex assemblies, ensuring accuracy. And even gaming. Imagine feeling the recoil or the texture of something in a game.
Okay, that's broad.
And their long-term vision, according to the research team, is an SDK, a software development kit. They want to create a platformization of proprioception.
Platformization of proprioception. That's our sense of body position, right?
Exactly. Our body's subconscious awareness of itself in space. So they want developers to be able to create physical software apps that literally guide users through physical tasks.
Like a GPS for your muscles.
That's a fantastic way to put it.
Yeah.
A GPS for your muscles.
Amazing. And it doesn't stop with haptics for movement, does it?
Mm-hmm.
The research also pointed to broader stuff in smart materials, biosignal sensing.
Correct.
Like that University of Cambridge breakthrough, the robotic skin.
Yes, the hydrogel skin.
Yeah, a low-cost, single-material hydrogel that can sense multiple things, pressure, temperature, even pain signals, all with just 32 electrodes. That seems incredibly efficient.
It is. And the implications there are pretty profound, especially when you think about prosthetics.
How so?
Well, this simpler hardware, when you combine it with sophisticated AI software, holds the promise of making artificial limbs much more robust, less complex, and importantly, cheaper.
Cheaper and more robust, that's key.
But also offering a much richer, more human-like sense of touch for the user. Imagine, for someone using a prosthetic, feeling the texture of a loved one's hand or the warmth of a coffee mug, things they might not have felt for years.
That's incredibly moving.
Yeah.
It brings a whole new dimension beyond just controlling the limb. Genuine sensation.
Exactly, moving from just motor control towards actual feeling. And sticking with medical sensing, our analysis also flagged this skin-interfaced mechanoacoustic sensor.
Mechanoacoustic.
Okay. It's designed for clinical-grade sleep analysis. And what's interesting is the research specifically critiques the limits of current wrist-worn wearables for this.
So my fitness tracker's sleep stages might not be super accurate.
They often struggle with clinical-level accuracy, yeah. The wrist just isn't always the best spot on the body to capture the specific biomarkers needed for detailed sleep analysis, like subtle body sounds or movements.
That's a really crucial point. It feels like a lot of current wearables are trying to be, a jack of all trades.
Right.
But maybe that master of none approach doesn't cut it for precise health data.
Precisely. And this highlights a really important principle the research team identified. Form factor follows biomarker.
Form factor follows biomarker, meaning?
It means that for serious medical-grade wearables, the future is likely diversification. We'll see highly specialized sensors, maybe discrete patches, smart clothing, rings, earbuds.
So, not just the wrist.
No. Each one designed and placed optimally on the body to capture specific, high-value health metrics with clinical accuracy, instead of one device trying and maybe failing to do everything from the wrist.
Putting the right sensor in the right place for the best data. Makes sense.
Exactly. A patch on your chest for heart sounds, maybe something near the temple for brain activity during sleep. Much more targeted.
Okay, this next area. This is where it gets really interesting and maybe, yeah, a little bit mind-bending. We're taking the deep dive to its furthest point now. Direct integration with the human brain. Brain-computer interfaces. BCIs.
The final frontier, perhaps?
It feels like it.
Yeah.
And we've seen a huge development highlighted by our sources from UC Davis. Their real-time speech, BCI.
Ah, yes, that was remarkable.
They managed real-time synthesis of audible speech directly from the neural signals of an ALS patient, like creating a digital vocal tract with almost no delay.
It's incredible stuff.
Just thinking that thoughts can become spoken words almost instantly.
And what's truly profound about that UC Davis work, it isn't just the technical achievement, as amazing as that is.
What is it then?
It's how it restores not just the ability to communicate, but it gives back personal identity, nuanced expression for people who've lost their voice.
Identity, yeah.
Imagine someone who hasn't spoken in years suddenly being able to, I don't know, crack a joke with their family again, express frustration, share a tender moment in their own voice, even if it's synthesized.
It goes way beyond just being a communication aid.
It becomes a tool for authentic self-expression, for reconnecting with the world on their terms.
And then, of course, you can't talk BCIs without mentioning Neuralink. They've certainly captured a lot of headlines. What did our research team find on their recent work?
Well, our deep dive into the info showed a couple of key advancements getting attention. There's the Blind Sight project.
Blind sight.
Yeah, it's a visual cortical prosthesis. They enabled a monkey to perceive artificial visual stimuli. The long-term goal, obviously, is restoring some form of vision for blind individuals.
Restoring vision, wow. Even basic shapes or light would be life-changing.
Absolutely. And then there's the widely reported case of a quadriplegic patient using the Neuralink implant.
Right, controlling a computer cursor?
Yes, and apparently even playing video games, just using thoughts.
Yeah.
Which, again, isn't just about moving a cursor. It's about regaining agency, interaction, independence in the digital world.
These advancements are just, they feel like they're straight out of science fiction, but turning into reality.
They really do.
But with that kind of power, direct brain interface,
Yeah.
it must raise some massive questions, right? Huge ethical considerations. It feels like we're stepping into totally uncharted waters here.
Oh, absolutely. Uncharted and potentially choppy waters. It creates this unavoidable collision, really, between the therapeutic uses restoring lost functions like sight or speech, which is amazing, and the potential enhancement applications, augmenting healthy function, maybe boosting memory or cognitive speed or focus.
Enhancement.
Yeah.
That's where it gets tricky.
Extremely tricky. And it brings up a whole host of critical concerns we really need to grapple with as a society. Things like cognitive privacy.
Cognitive privacy, like someone reading your thoughts.
Well, if a BCI can read your thoughts well enough to help you type or speak, what stops it, or the system it connects to from accessing other, more private thoughts, fears, desires, opinions,
Yikes.
then there's mental autonomy. Could an external system subtly, or maybe not so subtly, influence your decisions, your emotions, your preferences, and data ownership? Who owns the data generated by your neural activity? You, the company, your insurer.
Good question.
And of course, the really chilling risk of brainjacking.
Brainjacking. That sounds terrifying. Like someone hacking your brain.
Essentially, yeah. An unauthorized party gaining control over your neural interface. It sounds like cyberpunk, like you said, but it's a theoretical risk that security experts take very seriously with these future systems.
And if these technologies become super powerful, but also super expensive, doesn't that risk creating a huge divide, a cognitive divide?
That's another major concern. If access to cognitive enhancement is limited by cost, you could see society splitting into the enhanced and the unenhanced. What does that do to equality, to social cohesion?
These are not small questions.
Not at all. And they aren't just hypothetical anymore. Our analysis indicates that global bodies, like UNESCO, for example, are actually in the final stages right now of drafting the first international ethical framework specifically for neurotechnology.
Really? Okay, that's good to hear.
It's a crucial step. As the tech races ahead, society needs to build the guardrails, the ethical guidelines, to make sure these powerful tools benefit humanity responsibly and broadly.
Okay, a quick pause here. If you're finding this deep dive insightful, and we hope you are, please take just a second to like this video if you're on YouTube, subscribe to the deep dive, and definitely hit that notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next.
And if you're listening on a podcast service, maybe Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we would be incredibly grateful if you could leave us a rating and perhaps a quick review. It honestly really helps us reach new listeners who might be interested in this stuff.
So pulling back a bit, when we look at all these different threads, the glasses, the haptics, the biosensors, the BCIs,
Yeah.
the real-world applications starting to emerge are incredibly diverse.
Right. They seem to touch almost everything.
Pretty much. In healthcare and accessibility, it's clear. Restoring communication, mobility, speeding up physical rehab, helping manage chronic diseases proactively, huge potential there.
Yeah.
Then for industry and productivity, you've got possibilities like augmented strength or endurance for people doing heavy manual labor, or hands-free data and remote expert support for technicians working out in the field, maybe in dangerous spots. Makes sense. Safer, more efficient.
And then there's entertainment and lifestyle. Think AI coaches for your workouts, analyzing your form in real time, or incredibly immersive gaming that you don't just see and hear, but feel. And even just seamless social capture recording moments from your perspective without fumbling for a phone, almost like an extension of your memory.
Okay, but here's the reality check, right? The promise is huge, but there are still some major challenges stopping these things from being everywhere.
Absolutely. Significant hurdles remain.
We touched on privacy and security with BCIs, but even with smart glasses, there's that bystander consent problem, isn't there?
Definitely. If my glasses are recording everything, how do the people around me feel about that? Did they consent? It's a big social and legal question mark.
And the sheer amount of data these things collect. It does raise that specter you mentioned, the panopticon in designer frames. This sort of subtle, maybe, but pervasive surveillance becoming normalized.
It's a valid concern. And beyond privacy, there are just basic usability and comfort issues still.
Like battery life.
Yeah.
Still a problem.
Still a bottleneck. Even with improvements, these always-on, highly functional devices just chew through power. Needing to recharge your glasses multiple times a day isn't ideal.
No.
And they need to be truly lightweight, truly unobtrusive, designs that people genuinely forget they're wearing, not things that feel like a burden or scream tech device.
And that ties into social acceptability again, right?
Yeah.
The creepiness factor we talked about with early smart glasses. That's still a thing the industry has to overcome.
It absolutely is. People need to feel comfortable wearing the tech and comfortable around people wearing the tech. That takes time and the right design and function.
And maybe the biggest challenge, the one underlying all of this,
Yeah.
the search for the killer application.
Ah, yes, the killer app.
That one indispensable function that makes the average person say, okay, I need this, despite the cost, despite the privacy questions, despite maybe feeling a bit weird about it at first.
Exactly. Why should someone spend potentially hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars on this new device when their smartphone already does so much? What's the unique, compelling value proposition?
What can these wearables do that my phone just can't or can't do nearly as well? The industry is still trying to really nail that down for the mainstream, it seems.
They are. But despite those hurdles, the overall outlook from our research shows a clear acceleration towards this deeper biological integration. There are several trends converging that are really driving this strapped-in future.
Okay, what are the key drivers?
First, generative AI. It's becoming the wearable's brain, transforming these devices from just simple data loggers into truly interactive, context-aware assistants that can understand, reason, and respond in real time.
So they get smarter, more useful.
Much smarter. Second, novel materials are acting like the nervous system, things like that hydrogel skin or conductive fabrics. They're enabling totally new form factors, new ways to sense things that traditional rigid electronics just couldn't manage.
More flexible, more integrated materials.
Exactly. And third, there's a really strong push for richer multisensory input and output, moving beyond just screens and speakers to include sophisticated haptics, maybe even smell or taste down the line, allowing users to genuinely feel the digital world, blurring those lines between digital and physical even further.
Feeling the digital world.
Yeah.
Okay, so looking ahead then, say, the next 12 to 24 months, what key developments should we be watching for based on these trends?
Well, expect that race for the face in smart glasses to really heat up. Major players will be pushing hard for consumer adoption and, crucially, trying to move towards true augmented reality displays seamlessly overlaying useful digital info onto your view of the real world.
True AR glasses, that's the next big step there.
Seems like it. Also, we should see expanded multi-patient trials for BCIs. As the technology matures, moving from the lab towards clinical reality will be key for solidifying regulatory frameworks and bringing real hope to patients.
No real-world testing for brain interfaces.
And haptic technologies, that sense of touch, are really poised to transition into more mainstream consumer products. Think next-gen smartwatches with more nuanced feedback, or VR and AR controllers that let you feel textures and impacts.
Haptics going mainstream.
Okay.
We'll also likely see that accelerated diversification of wearable form factors, moving away from everything being on the wrist towards that personal area network of specialized sensors we talked about, the right sensor in the right place.
The form factor follows biomarker idea in practice.
Exactly. And all of this will drive deeper integration into our daily lives and connect more seamlessly with the broader Internet of Things ecosystem. Your wearables talking to your smart home, your car, your environment.
Creating that sort of personal smart bubble around us.
Kind of, yeah. And underpinning all this, expect increased global collaboration, hopefully, between the technologists, the policymakers, and the public to shape this future through updated laws, ethical guidelines, and ongoing dialogue. It's a really dynamic phase. It definitely feels like it. This strapped-in revolution, it's not science fiction anymore, is it? It's firmly underway. It's blurring the lines between human and machine in ways that, yeah, used to be just stories.
It's happening now.
So the final thought to leave everyone with: as this technology becomes such an intimate extension of ourselves, maybe even part of ourselves, what does that mean? What does it mean for how we see our own bodies, our sense of autonomy, our very identity in this emerging era?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It really is. Something we'll all be grappling with for years to come, I think. We genuinely love hearing your thoughts on all this. So whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on your favorite podcast app, please do leave a comment. Let us know what you think about how wearables are changing things and what questions this raises for you. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.